Ka katia tangi tū ka tuwhera maunga haruru. Ka katia te maunga ka tuwhera te moana. Kia ora koutou. One of our last speakers mentioned about being bare feet. And I have my own version of walking around in gumboots and bare feet. It's a term I like to use quite often. And our mahi that we do in the taiao. And as you can see, I'm wearing shoes today. I would prefer to wear bare feet and gumboots. And that's my stage, not the stage. So I'm struggling at the moment. So, I'm saying that. Ko jau Reti ahau no tā ngoio. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora tātou, ko Senitra Nathan-Marsh tōku ingoa, I te tau tōku pāpā, hiurea hau no Ngāti Ranginui, Te Atiau Nui a Paparangi me Rarotonga. I te tau tōku māma, hiurea hau no Ngāpuhi, Ngāti Pro, Ngāti Mañapoto, Ngāti Haua me Ngāti Tūwharetoa, kei ahuriri ahau e noho ana. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora tātou, ko Levi Walford ahau. Mai here taunga rarau, here taunga hauku nui, here taunga te haro, te kāhu, here taunga tako tōnoa. Mai ora tātou.
Yeah, kia ora koutou. Just the waiata we just spoke, it's written up here for everyone to see the whakapapa or our tohora. And you can see that we have also included Pānia in paying homage and respect to our tipua, our tipuna. We say in our own hapu, I can only speak for our own hapu, and we say it with the most, it's a bit hard for me to try and give koe whakahihi, but all our hapu, ngā hapu o te whanganui I Arotu, we were known as ourselves, and we call ourselves ngai tangaroa. Kia ora koutou.
Firstly, I just actually want to rewind and mahi tū piriri and your whānau for the beautiful waiata. I feel very humbled to be up here and to be welcomed by your guys' voices, so ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. And secondly, just a huge mahi to everyone here today. I guess, Ikanui ko ngā Rangatira o te moana. In a nutshell, it's an intentional space created for hapu to hold space to connect to whakapapa, to Ikanui, pretty much. So it's a space that, I guess, brings together people when Ikanui come ashore. The photos up here, so we've got Huanui and Huaroa. And I guess these pictures we intentionally chose because it depicts the aroha and the connection that we all share with Ikanui. And so when they come ashore, they're welcomed with love. They're welcomed wholly in their mauri, and that there is a welcome. And as we'll get more into the kaupapa, you'll understand where we're going with this. Yeah.
We'll just send out a bit of a mihi with this as well. Every time Ikanui will come up, I guess, Senitra talks about it, it's a tangi, go into tangi mode. And so, have the whānau, I think, on your guys' left. My mum, I think, is in that picture there with Huanui.
Yes.
Huaroa. One of the huas. They were big huas anyway. And then, the whānau starts to come in, surround us, get everything prepped up, get the kāinga set up. You'll be able to see Sandra down here. Always one of the ones who comes into the call and, I guess settles down my hua-ness. with a bit more of that awhiness. Yeah.
So in terms of the kaupapa, it was born out of, I guess, the voices of hapu. As we ventured along the moana here and as we ventured along, different instances where Ikanui came ashore, a lot of people just cried out for a space where we can intentionally come together, wānanga, to hold space, to connect, to understand connection, to go deeper. And so this kaupapa was born to intentionally bring that to hapu, and it's for hapu. And so through the voices of hapu, we managed to kind of create or encapsulate their vision and what they were wanting. And so the first one we have here is hapu have a strong and conscious connection to Ikanui. And so I guess what this speaks to is we've heard people say multiple times, far out, we're singing songs about whales, but we've never seen one. Or far out, I hear my koro or my nanny talk about Ikanui, but, the only thing we see is the mural in Napier City, that's the closest that we get to connect to it. And so what this speaks to is hapu have a strong and conscious connection, and they're able to connect in whatever way they would like to connect. It's not a one-shoe-fits-all approach. It's just saying, kia ora, this is important. We're going to bring our mauri, we're going to invest energy into this space, and we're going to care about it. The second one is hapu have established tikanga for Ikanui strandings, which are recognised and understood by both hapu and partners. So I don't know how many people here have gone to an Ikanui stranding, but the first thing that happens is, if we're lucky, a person who is of hapu may find them. 9 times out of 10, it's a general member of the public, and the first call that's made is to dock. And so what that speaks to is understanding, how do you guys want that to roll? What does that look like? How do we create the opportunity to be able to kōrero about that process? Because it's important and it's special, and as soon as your taonga comes ashore, you want to know what's happening and how things are rolling. The other aspect of that is, I guess, having a bit of organisation. I think I've heard someone say before, we're good at mobilisation but not organisation, and I think we're good at both. We just need to work on it. Multiple times we've turned up to the beach and there's hardly any hapu there, or they're not there. Why? Because we have to mahi, because we've got commitments, because we wear many pōtai. So, they may turn up later on. So it's how do we make ourselves, or how do we, support to get more organised, and what does that look like? That doesn't have to be a paper document that gets passed around. It can just be a mutual understanding between hapu. It can be an understanding between different hapu. It's just kind of creating space to think about that. And for it to be communicated to people like DOC, to your PSGE, to the councils, even to the contractors who may be involved with the practicalities of things. So it's how can we create that space, and that's what that's about. The next one is hapu continuously building their capability and capacity to uphold their tikanga with sustained resourcing and support. When we speak to that, what I think about is, cool, there are our ones that we call on all the time. There's our Māoris, there's our Joes, there's our Pariri, there's our Pāiri who's no longer here, and there's only one of them. And I think, something I think about is one of our wānanga we ran, and I always share this kōrero. Pāiri and Māori were working on our taonga there, hei manaaki, and they made a joke, and I don't think it was a funny joke, but they laughed about it. They said, oh, hey bro, it's cool to be doing this again, eh? Probably be our last one. And Pāiri passed away the next week, which means that mātauranga went with him. And so when I think about continuously building their capability and capacity, to me that's succession. It's going to talk to your oldies and ask them, what do you know about Ikanui nene? Did you eat it? What do you know about Ikanui koro? Have you ever seen one? How do we connect to them? When we sing this waiata and we talk about roa mano, what does that mean? Because a lot of our people we've found, there's only a small group that has that knowledge. And so that's what that's about. A key point in this is sustained resourcing and support. Majority of our people who turn up to the beach, they're not paid to be there. They turn up, they've probably taken leave, or they've just gapped it from work. And they're just turning up, because they care, if they can make it. Resourcing is a huge issue, and it's something that we're trying to work on. DOC's not rich. They have $2,000 a year, and it's probably been cut after all of their cuts, but they have $2,000 a year to support all Ikanui strandings along this whole coastline. That gets blown in one go. But what we have is the ability to kōrero with other people. Kia ora top line. Last time we had a wānanga, they supplied our digger. $2,000 that we didn't have to worry about, which means that we didn't have to limit the cultural practice that was needing to take place by Pūtea. Hey. We do not want to be limited by the lack of resourcing that gets invested into this space. And as much as we don't like it, DOC controls it. And it's confined by their budgets. And so this objective is cool. How do we, as hapu, as community, look at how we can resource this space in alignment with what you want to do with your taonga, not so much what they're able to do. And so that's what that speaks to. And also right down to what's our gear that we need. Because no, we don't have half an hour or an hour to go to the DOC base, to go unlock the key, to go and talk to someone to give us our gear. We can get it ourselves. And so that's just what that talks to, is how can we start understanding what we want, what we want this to look like, and how can we make sure that we've got that resourced? How can we do that in our community? I've just seen a lot of mobilisation and, I guess, coming together for many different things that we care about. And so I think it's possible in this space, and it's proven to work. So that's what that's about. The next one is hapu are knowledgeable about the cultural, legislative and research aspects of Ikanui and are empowered to navigate these domains with support. And so pretty much that's talking about we're having wānanga all the time to equip and enhance your kete so that every time you're turning up, you've got something to think about, you've got something to give, you're supported in that. I think about the legislative stuff. It's like, yep, cool. When you turn up to the beach and DOC says, no, you can't harvest, you need to know exactly what legislation you're navigating so that you can challenge them, so that you can show them, okay, cool, well, actually, this is why we can do it. Because 9 times out of 10, sorry to say, but their priority is not the Māori rule book. Their priority is the Crown rule book. And much like all of us who are, battling the treaty principles bill, the regulation bills and all that sort of stuff, we have to get to know the game that they're playing so that we can challenge it. And that's exactly what that's saying. But it's also bringing balance of, yep, you might have the people who want to geek out on the legislation and they're the ones at the beach who are going to be able to move the process forward, but you're also wanting to have those ones there who can hold everyone safely. And that's what you're knowledgeable about the cultural stuff. It's like, cool, you've dug up that whakapapa, you've dug up how you connect, and you're able to bring that to the forefront when an ikanui's there. And so that's what that speaks to. Hapu are actively and consistently involved with Ikanui and have sustainable resourcing and support, enabling them to carry out their hapu-specific cultural practices. So when I say that, what I envision is when we get there, there's more of us than the green uniform, simply put. That you're able to be there and that you're supported to be there. Because at the moment, it's hard to say, but it's not that way. We're building it, but it's just not that way. So you want more of your people there. And the last one, throughout Te Mātua Māui coastline, hapu are central to all Ikanui initiatives, including strandings, and are equipped to provide inter-hapu support when required. So this acknowledges that, not only has there been a need for hapu involvement in all Ikanui initiatives. For example, they don't just wash up on the shore, they're out there living. So we want to know about that. We want to be involved in that. So that's what that speaks to. But also, the inter-hapu support. Is that it? Wow! Is that 2 minutes? Oh, I'm going to skip through because we've taken too much time. But so that's what that talks about. The inter-hapu thing is just around, acknowledging that hapu have their own unique ways of doing things. And so it doesn't mean that everyone needs to be the same, but it means that if we all have our houses in order and if we're all thinking about this, then kia ora, we've got a 20-metre sperm whale on our beach, we're going to call the Kazis next door. And we may not have to call way up north to Hori Parata in them. We might have that capacity here. So it's just talking about that. We've got a video, which is probably... Oh.
We're not going to say how long this video is.
No.
It's just going to play.
I'm going to hide the tika away.
I'm pushing the button. How do I...
Oh, yeah. I will just ask not to capture videos, not to capture photos of this. This is a kaupapa that, we don't release publicly, we don't send out publicly. We are very sensitive with all of these. It's just like our loved ones when they pass away, or I guess our tikanga anyway, until the hapu says otherwise, is we don't go chucking that stuff on Facebook, on YouTube, and for everyone to see. Their tū pāpaku is to remain with us. Yeah. Throughout the video, we will just chuck in a little bit of kōrero because we've been cut off.
That wasn't 18 minutes, no.
No. The name of this Ikanui, I'll explain that, So Ikanui, the reason that we say that is, well, Ika fish, nui big fish. The Ikanui name refers to all of the big fish, the whales of the ocean. Tohora, parawa, those are specific types of whales. Yeah, those are specific breeds. And so we refer to them as Ikanui or kauika. In terms of this one, when it came up down there at Clifton, it came up onto the gravelly side of the beach, and to get it out, we grabbed the, there's that bell that I'm going to ignore. Senitra will take the hits from Ngaio. She's the favourite. But so we grabbed the utes, chucked on our strops for our recovery kits, tied it onto the tail, pulled it up. Got another ute with the trailer that I just happened to have with me at work. We backed it up, jackknifed it, got the other truck lined up with the strop, and we were able to pull it up and jump it up off the stones onto the trailer using some ramps that a local had for his quad bike. As we were going through, you can see a whole lot of the mahi that we're doing here to cleanse it, or those who are at the works to bone it out. And as we went through, so this Ikanui was a male, and we had to sample each of the different organs, bits and bobs and all that. And Senitra can speak a bit more to that. I'm usually just a pair of hands with a couple of knives. But as we were going through, we pulled out what they refer to, a technical term as the gonads. The Māori term is the balls. And as they came out, well, they were quite large. And when we were thinking about the name, well, Sandra wasn't there, so it wasn't a heimanaki or an ako name, a beautiful name. It was left to me, and I went, okay. The way that the whale got onto our trailer was it was like it jumped onto the gravels, jumped onto our trailer. And I was like, oh, well, one eke. Hey, it jumped onto the shore, jumped onto our things, and I also thought, well, one eke had some big balls as well, so there we go. Obviously, all the beautiful stuff is sort of left to the woman, to these guys, to our Joe. I'm a bit more of the nanakiatanga. Here you could see the hātau, and the reason that the Ikanui passed away, it was something that we found out through pulling out the hearts was, usually have these two big chambers, or I'll say two big chambers. When we pulled it out, one of them was smaller. Yeah, it was smaller like that. It had collapsed, cardiac arrest, heart attack. Yeah.
So before we get kicked off, I guess I'll just explain a little bit because we didn't give much commentary, but I guess we're investing a lot of effort into capturing this process. So you'll notice that we had bird's eye view, we had GoPros and all of that. And the reason that we're doing this is so that it can be a learning tool, but it's also a taonga. And so again, that's another wānanga. Before we came up here today, it's funny, I did the due diligence for the Ikanui, but not for the people. So I went around and asked all the right people, hey, how do we feel about photos? How do we feel about them being up there? But I forgot to ask about the people themselves in the video. But I guess it's just, there's continuous wānanga on every single aspect of this. We had like our whole presentation to go, but yeah, we don't have time. So yeah, maybe come and have a kōrero at lunch.